backward, as she does virtually every day of the week. Just the other day, Pelosi announced that no conversation about China is legitimate. It's all a distraction.
Let me just say that what the president is saying about China is interesting. It's an interesting diversion. Let's keep our focus on meeting the needs of the American people, opening our economy.
Yeah, it's a diversion. How many antibiotics do we make in this country in the middle of a pandemic? Let's see, 0, none. All in China. Just a diversion. When you watch something like Pelosi's statement, a terrifying thought creeps up from the back of your mind. Is China now too strong to criticize? Is our only option to submit? Maybe. We'll find out. Even now, there are certainly downsides for anyone who dares say a negative word about Beijing. China is now threatening to punish elected American officials who dare to criticize the Chinese response to coronavirus. Hard to believe. They're saying that out loud. To his credit, Senator Josh Hawley of Missouri is not intimidated. He's one of those who's been threatened by the Chinese government, and we're happy to have him on tonight. Senator, thanks a lot for joining us. First, if you could just be specific about the threat that China has made against you.
Well, China has said that they are going to sanction me personally, whatever that means, and they're going to sanction my state, the state of Missouri, because we've had the temerity, Tucker, to actually stand up. State of Missouri is suing the Chinese government, and rightly so. And I propose legislation that would allow every American who has been hurt by this COVID pandemic that Beijing unleashed on the world to allow every American to go to court who's been hurt, hold the Chinese government accountable, and have the court freeze Chinese assets. So I guess that makes me a target. I don't care. We're going to keep speaking the truth, and we're going to hold China accountable. And this is the time. We have got to change our relationship with China. It is now or never.
It's not just a question of trade. It's a question of what kind of world are our grandchildren going to live in. It's not an overstatement to say the future of the world hangs in the balance right now. So I fervently hope this can be a bipartisan effort. Have you had any luck getting Democrats in the Senate on your side to push back against Chinese dominance?
You know, I'm afraid that so far, I mean, our Democrat friends, they will talk a game about China, and they'll say, yeah, that's a problem. And when it comes time to actually rubber to road, what are we going to do about it? You know, are we going to let Americans go to court to have their day? Are we going to change our trade agreements with China? Are we going to reform the WHO or just get out of it? Are we going to reform the WTO, the World Trade Organization, where we are just getting absolutely robbed blind by China? Are we going to do something about that? These are the arguments that I'm making, and it's time right now. It's time for elected officials to stand up and do something about it.
It shouldn't be partisan at all. There's no reason. It's a matter of national security. So at the end of it, we're spending so much money, trillions of dollars, to the point where it's not even real, of course. But it is on some level real. That is debt that the Chinese largely will buy, and then they will have even greater control over the United States. Are you worried that, in effect, the Chinese will bail out our country after a pandemic they unleashed on the world?
Yes, and this is one of the reasons why China needs to be forced to pay damages for what they've done. They're the ones who unleashed this on the world. Let's be clear. Beijing knew that they had a major health crisis on their hands in Wuhan, the origin of the virus. They silenced doctors. They gagged whistleblowers. It allowed this thing to spread and to become a pandemic level. So they need to be forced to pay, Beijing does. But Tucker, beyond that, we've got to now build new coalitions of other free nations who are willing to partner together and hold China accountable. We cannot be satisfied and content with the status quo.
We should cancel Chinese debt. And there's only one, by the way, there's only one president in American history to even entertain that. And it's this one. I hope he does. Senator, thanks so much for coming on. I hope you'll keep us posted on what happens with the sanctions.